Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us for our afternoon session. I'm delighted to welcome Coleman Collins, who's going to talk to you about how to succeed at your first job. A very broad topic, but Coleman gives some great insights on how to know the first job is right for you, how to deal with, setbacks, how to deal with progress, and how to make the most of your first job and the thought process that should go into making that obviously critical decision. Coleman has over 40 years of experience in recruitment and HR, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of information that's valuable to you here, and we'll have some time for questions at the end, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time listening to me. My name is Rory Cavan, by the way. I'm the Grad Ireland editor, but I'll be here to help out with questions at the end. Coleman, over to yourself.
Okay. Hey, listen, thanks for all coming in and avoiding all those other stands and coming over here and listening to me. I'm going to try and make it interesting for you. You're taking a chance coming in here because this is going to be interactive. So please don't run out the door if I ask you questions, okay? So what is the first thing you should be thinking about when you're going for your first job? Do you want to do it? And how would you decide if you wanted to do it? What? You might enjoy it. What else? Come on. How would you decide? Lots of companies you might like. Which? Money. Money. Okay, money's part of it, yeah. Not going to pretend it isn't. Anything else? Which? Your skill set, yeah. Is it a good match? Yeah, to the company you're thinking about. Anything else? Which? Is it fulfilling? Yes, that's a relevant thing. Would there be potential in it longer term, not just the first year or so? Anything else? Which?
I can build a career with that.
Yes. Is it take a long-term view? Is this somebody I could get my career off to a good start? Maybe have a long-term career. Okay, good, good. How would you find out these things? How do you decide? Which? Yeah. Yeah. How do you decide? How would you find out? How would you know if a job was right for you? How would you decide? Work experience, yes. So you could have worked as a pre-placement, an intern type role. Yeah, that's always a good way. Anything else? How would you find out? Would you look at someone's website? Yeah, okay. Like, remember, if you're going for a job now, the employer will expect you to have done this kind of research about them. They think all these employers think they're better than all the other ones. So if you don't know about them, they're not going to be very flattered. Okay. So you found out a bit about the company, you found out a bit about the job. Anything else? Anything else? Was anyone at the previous presentation? They were talking about the culture in the organization. And they were talking about things particularly relevant to ladies here, and also the issue of, so two things, diversity and gender policies. How would you find out what that company that you were looking at was like on that front? Social media, absolutely. Could be, yeah. Anything else? Which?
News articles.
News articles, absolutely, yes. News articles, yeah. But now remember, sometimes the things in the news articles is what companies want you to think about them, may not be what it is. Okay. Anything else? Excellent. Talk to someone who is working there or worked there previously. Absolutely. That's part of your research. Top of the class. Okay. Do your research. Someone who is there, maybe? Someone who was there. What would you like to know from the person who was there?
Why did you leave?
Exactly. Why did you leave? There's no point in having all these values up on the board and mission statements. I left because I didn't get on with my boss. That boss might be your boss. Right? Would you like to know that before you go in? Absolutely. Anything else? I see lots of interesting stands around here. Did you see stands talking about sustainability? Isn't that something that's interesting? I find more and more employers, more and more graduates are thinking about, does this fit in with my personal values? To see, the great thing for you guys now is, unlike when I got my first job, I had to get a job wherever the hell, whoever would take me in the door and give me a start. That's the way it was. You can choose. You can choose. So, as much as the employer is interviewing you, you're interviewing them, or you should be. That's the way you should be looking at it. Because now we're in a candidates market. That means there's more demand for you than there are numbers of you available to fill that demand. So you can be selective. Yeah? Okay. Now, one thing I should have said at the outset, a big decision to make, a very big decision to make is it a company or maybe is it the public service? That's a big decision. Why is it a big decision? Why is it a big decision? Do you think it would be easy after 5 years in either a private sector company or a public service body to change? No. It's not that easy. Because you get employers look at it and they think, she's a public servant. She's been a public servant for 5 years. I can't see her making the transition into industry. Or he's been in industry 5 years. I don't see him making that change. So that's a very important decision. Another important decision, let's say we're going the industry route. What's another important decision? Big or small? Because SMEs are very different to multinationals. Very different. So you have to think, which would I prefer to be in? Do I want to be a big fish in a small pool? Or a small fish in a big pool? It's a very different way of working. Decision making can be slow, cumbersome in a big company, can be fast in a small company. Mightn't be right, but can be fast. So you need to think, what ties in, what do I want? What ties in with where I see myself going? Don't take the view, I sure look at if it doesn't work out, I'll change to something else. That's not a great start. Won't look too good on the CV. And if that decision isn't made by you, if the employer doesn't think you're a good fit, you're going to have to explain to your next employer, how come you're only there for 6 months? Not a good conversation to be starting with. Okay? So I want you all to be thinking big, private or public, big or small, culture, values, sustainability. Has anyone heard the expression CSR? What is it? Corporate social responsibility. Every company wants to be seen as a good corporate citizen. How would you find out if a company was a good corporate citizen? Well, would they be supporting companies or maybe local soccer teams or GAA teams or something like that? You possibly have to be doing it. But this is your research. This is your job, your career. So you need to be looking and see, what is this company aligned to? We know they talk a good game, but do they support the local GAA club? Do they support some local charities? Do you see them in social media getting credit for some initiatives they've made in the area of integrating with their local community, being environmentally friendly. So these are all questions you have to ask. Okay, we're going to move on. Thank God he's not going to ask any more about those questions. I'm going to ask you other questions. Communications. You've got to be a great communicator. Oral communications. So you're going in to your boss. Is that going to be a long conversation or a short one? He's busy, she's busy. You don't want to be coming in, boss, I think I'd like to talk to you about what? Cut to the chase, get to the point. Boss, I think we need to buy this. It'll cost so much money and it'll save us this amount of money. Do you think the boss is listening now? Yeah. So you've got to get the person's attention. There's lots of people want the boss's attention. There's lots of bosses in that company that other people want the other boss's attention. There's a shortage of money to spend. So you've got to be able to make your case to the boss. Okay? Yeah. So communication should be direct, concise, to the point, relevant, time-based, cost-based, benefit-based. Okay, we're getting there. What about written communications? Long email? No, definitely not long email. We had a Taoiseach here in the country not too long ago, and all the Dublin Centre journalists were slagging him because he said he wanted everything in a one-pager. He was damn right. Do you suppose you have time to read all those reports? Okay, if it's hugely important, you might have to. But by and large, you need an executive summary. So you need to be able to write an executive summary, not just say, once upon a time. It can't be like that. It has to be direct and to the point. Okay? Very good. And it can't have what I'd call weasel words in it. What are weasel words, for God's sake? He's saying, please don't ask me what are weasel words. Hopefully, I'll come back to you tomorrow. No, hopefully. Yes, absolutely, I will. Hopefully means I'm not going to. But I've just fobbing you off. You're not going to buy it. I'll try to have that by Friday. I'll try. I'm now giving you notice I won't have it by Friday. That's not what the boss wants to hear. What do you want to hear? Definite. And if it can't be Friday, boss, I won't have it by Friday. Because you also asked me to do this. Which of them is most important? I can do both of them. One for Friday, one for Monday. Put the ball back in their court. Which is it? Okay? So, communications, direct, to the point, whether written or verbal. Don't waste time. Don't throw in possiblies, hopefullys, maybes. They're all weasel words. We don't want them. Okay. Moving swiftly onwards. Another thing that I think we should talk about is having a strong work ethic. Now, I don't want you all to be workaholics, but I expect when you turn up for work, you're there to work. You're not going to go off to the coffee machine for the first 10 minutes and say, well, guess what I did at the weekend? Yeah? No, you're here to work. You can talk later. You're here to work. So good work ethic. Start the day as you plan to continue it. Start your first job as you plan to continue it. Develop a reputation as being a worker, a person who I can count on to get something done. So if that person says to me, I'll do it, boss, I'll have it for you on Friday, I can believe it. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Uh, so we've covered all that point. So work ethic. What else on work ethic? I don't want you to become workaholics either. That's no good. Why is it not good? It's not good. You're not going to continue to be able to work that hard. It's not sustainable. Same as the environment isn't sustainable, it's not sustainable for you to work too hard. Work hard, but don't work 60 hours a week, week after week. Not good. You won't last. We're talking about a career here. So if you're going to have a long career, you're going to have to work hard, but you don't work yourself to the bone. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to be stressed out. So you've got to mind yourself. Okay, so working. What else? Results orientated. You know what KPIs are? Yeah? Key performance indicators. So measure, you will probably, if you go to work in a multinational company, you'll be given KPIs. You'll be given objectives, and that's how your performance will be measured. So be sure. Don't make a mistake now when you go in there. Remember, you're on probation. So you need to know that what you're working hard at is what the boss wants you to be working hard at. That's not always the case. You might think it is. You might think, I have a good understanding of what this job is about. But maybe you don't. You need to clarify it. Be sure you understand. Because at the end of 6 months, you're not going to win the argument, we're not keeping you. You didn't deliver on your objectives. But I did this, this, and this. Where did you get the idea that was your main objective? That conversation's over. Now you're going to have to explain in the next company why it didn't work out in the first one. That's a bad start. Entirely avoidable. Okay. What else have we to say about work ethic? Anything else about work ethic? Time management. 80-20 rule. Yeah? 80% of the success of any job, of the output of any job, is done in 20% of the time. It's done by doing 20% of the objectives really well. They're the more important ones. So you need to be clear. You've got probably 10 objectives. 2 of those are probably more important than anyone else. People make the mistake, they concentrate on what they're good at rather than what's most important. Don't make that mistake. Okay. So we said we don't want long hours. What about things like staying back in the evening, using the gym, staying in the canteen, all that kind of stuff? Is that all good? No, not good. You need a break from all that stuff. It's nice that the employer provides those amenities, but it isn't great if you spend all your time doing that kind of stuff, because it's not giving you enough time away from work. Your leisure time then becomes an extension of your work. Not good. Some employers, I would say, do it deliberately, but I won't tarnish them all same brush. Some do it just to keep it there. Some do it out of altruistic motivation. Either way, you need to mind yourself. You need to make sure you don't burn yourself out. Okay, so what about working with energy and enthusiasm? Yeah, plenty of energy. Yeah. I don't want someone who comes in with a long face and I'm thinking, no, I want you to be fired up, ready to go. I can hire anybody to do a job who'll come in with a long face. No good. Okay. So bring energy and enthusiasm into the day. Okay. What about another thing? Problem solving and solution focused. I don't want you just coming to me telling me the problems. I know what the problems are. I have a good idea. I want you to come to me with the idea, boss, there's a problem down there. That machine isn't working properly, but I have an idea how it worked. Okay? Go check it out. Come back to me. So you should not be going to a boss on a repeated basis saying, telling her there's a problem. By and large, they know there's problems. They employed you to solve the problem. I was in an office one day where the guy came in to his boss, and the boss got impatient. 3 times he said, you've come to me with this problem. He said, very cruelly, why do I keep a dog if I have to do my own barking? Wow. I don't think that person ever turned up again with the same problem. So you have to be solution focused. That's what you're employed for. Yeah? Okay, we're moving on. Another quality, we're going to talk about qualities first, then we're going to talk about in-life situations. How are we doing on time? 7 minutes, Jesus Christ. Okay, one quality you must have. You've got to be resilient. It's tough. Doesn't matter how good you are, it's tough. You'll get setbacks. You'll be unsuccessful at some things. Some of your great ideas will be rejected. Don't take it personally. It happens. You're an engineer, you come up and you have a great idea and you think, this is definitely going to work. And the finance guy says, no, not going to work. Too expensive. There's other projects that are much more worthy of it. What way are you going to deal with this? You're going to take it personally? You're going to sulk? Go to a corner? No. You've got to bounce back. Represent the idea in a different format. Go lobby support for it. Explain your idea better to people. Go to the finance person and say, what was it about my idea you didn't like? Right? Represent it. Often ideas are turned down because the timing is wrong. It might be a good idea, but it may not be the right time. No means no sometimes. Often it means not now. So don't be put off by no. Now we're going to talk about real life situations that can happen. Office politics. Oh God, the bane of working in a business. Office politics. Dennis Brosnan of the Kerry Group had a personnel manager who was my brother. I called all the executives of the Kerry Group in together, and he read out this memo, and he said to them, what is that email? What does it say? He said, it's a CYA email. Does anyone know what that is? Can you guess? It's rather rude. You know what it is. It's a cover your arse email. Right? What did he say to everybody around that table? The next person who sends me one of those, I'll fire them. Do you think they did any more CYA emails? No. So the culture was set by Dennis. Be straight up with your communications. Talk to the person. If you have to put something in writing, do not do it from bad motivation like cover your arse. Do it for information giving purposes. Okay. Rumors, gossip, innuendo. If you go into a new job as a graduate and someone comes up and passes on a rumor, this lady here, no. Huh? Are you going to go tell everyone else? No. That's all BS. You can't get involved with it. It's career inhibiting. He told you, we know what he's like. He's a troublemaker. You can't be listening to him. He's a marked man. If you're doing what he's doing, you're now a marked person. Not good. So avoid rumors, gossip, innuendo. How about, what else? Moaning, bitching, giving out. No. No. There's no place in work. You want to have a moan or a bitch, go do it off-site. But don't be moaning and bitching. If you have a good idea about something that's wrong, by all means present it. But don't just go moaning about it, saying, they said so. Them over there, they said so. No. Don't be othering people. Don't be setting up us and them conversations. We all work for the same place. They are just an extension of us. Someday you'll have an idea that you'll need to be adopted by other people. You'll need them on side. Them. Don't be going to the canteen with the same people all the time. Then there's an us and them situation, right? Okay, we all have friends. We naturally gravitate towards some people more than others. But in a big business, you need to be able to, sometimes the people in engineering need the support of the people in finance or the people in production. So you can't be in silos where you don't talk to other people. That's not the way of being successful. So being a team player, as is covered in this book, means being a team in your own group, but across the company, across the organization. Okay? Do you believe me? Yeah, I didn't make it up. Okay? I knew I had one or two more things I wanted to say about, jokes, slagging, banter, that kind of thing. Remember, we're now in a country where, when I started work, there was about 1% diversity in the country between white, Caucasians and non-nationals. It's now 17%. 80% of the workforce was male. It's now 50-50. It's probably more females than males. There's no place for this kind of crap. You can't be talking like that. So HR people should be getting all that stuff out of the company. There's no place for it. So don't get involved in telling jokes at other people's expense. Something that's a joke to you could be highly offensive to others. Okay, bullying. What about bullying? If someone bullies you, what are you going to do? Someone bullies you? Tell your boss, exactly. You could tell your boss. Anything else you could do? Yeah, okay. Anything else? Who? Talk to the person, yeah. Call them out. If you do this again, I will talk to my boss or I'll talk to HR. Okay? Is that the last time? Most likely. All bullies are cowards. All bullies are cowards. But if you don't call out the bully early, guess what? It's going to continue. It's going to continue. And you'll be bringing it home with you. It'll leak into your personal life. Okay? So you're telling me I'm nearly finished. Okay.
I'm just wondering, is there any questions? Anyone have any
ask questions? I love questions. Come on.
Or I suppose, just how would someone say if they decided a job was not right for them? How would you go about, telling your supervisor, your boss, that this is not right for me? It's time to.
Yeah, call it early. Don't let it drag on 2 or 3 years. Call it early. It's like a relationship that's not working out. Decide early before you've invested too much in it.
Okay.
It happens. With the best of research, you'll make mistakes. You'll go into the wrong place. It happens. But be honest with your boss and tell them. Because guess what? After a while, they'll figure it out themselves. You won't be telling them. They'll be telling you goodbye. So better to face it down early.
Okay. Coleman, where can people find your book?
The book it's online. There's a crowd called buythebook.ie.
Is it on Amazon or?
It's on Amazon. If you buy it through Buy the Book, and you're misfortunate enough to want an autographed copy and a dedicated one, I give you one. But otherwise, you'll get it on Amazon, and I think Hannah's Bookshop has it, and I think the Winding Stair in Ormond Quay have it. But look, I'm not interested in the money. I'm hoping I stepped in a lot of bear traps over 40 years. If I can save you going into some of them, I'll be happy. That's what I want. So I'm going around to colleges to try and talk to people who are finishing, get the idea across. It's your choice now. Start as you want to continue. It's all ahead of you. But don't let any of these things happen that I was describing.
And I suppose as well that there's so many channels now that were not available in previous generations, obviously, in terms of the research you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
As someone here, talk to people.
Absolutely.
Talk to people who've been through it, find out, is it right for you?
Look, as much as you can find out online, listen, online companies have the most fantastic values, fantastic mission statements. A good question to ask is, as well as asking people, have a look and see how did they handle crises that happened the economy or the company. So when the banking crisis happened in 2008 and 9, did they kick everyone out the door? Were they humane? Did they make their best efforts to keep them? Did they slash their salaries immediately? Did they do their best to keep them? When COVID happened, did they think, we got to get everyone out of here fast? Or did they try and do finding ways of keeping the people? Until, luckily, when the COVID happened, the Minister of Finance brought in a scheme, a subsidy scheme to help employers. But some employers jumped before the subsidy scheme was in place. Those employers are finding it hard to get people now. Some of the employers who misbehaved back in the recession of 08, 09, people don't still trust them. So trust is critical. And trust comes from the culture. If the culture is right, people will feel respected and they'll stay. If you see organizations with high staff turnover and finding it hard to attract people, the culture is rotten. You don't want to be going there.
Thanks very much, Coleman. Unfortunately, we're out of time, unless anyone has any quick questions. We have one?
Yeah. Wow.
What's the biggest bear trap you stepped into?
What the biggest bear trap I stepped into?
Something that we're not going to get sued for now.
Yeah, look, I'll tell you a bear trap. One mistake I made was a person I knew well in a company who I had the highest regard for gave me a spin on somebody that suggested that person wasn't doing their job. When I talked to that other person, they gave me a totally different spin. And I have to confess I got it wrong, because I knew the other person longer, I had more track record with them. But in the fullness of time, I found out I kept the wrong one. Not good. Didn't make it again. If you start making the same mistake repeatedly, a boss said to me once, when I gave him a report that was just a little off, he said, "How many people are out of work?" I said, "There's 183,000 people at that time out of work. Would you like to join them? I can get any of them to give me a report that has a mistake in it." Do you think I make that mistake again? No. So I've made loads of them, but I didn't make the same one twice. Okay.
Thanks very much, Coleman. Listen, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for participating. Sorry we couldn't speak longer. I did it for 2 hours in the university. They're still getting over it.